Hi, I'm Miles Z. Welcome to Stitch and Bitch, and today I'm here with Sophie.
Hi!
There's Sophie. She doesn't have a webcam today, but that's fine.
That's because I'm ugly.
Nah, you're not ugly.
You have to say that.
So
it's
yeah,
true.
I don't think you guys know Sophie yet. We've talked about her a little bit, me and Mary.
Haha! Oh my god, have you?
Yeah. So, she hasn't heard any of the previous episodes. She hasn't watched any of them because she didn't realize it was on YouTube. So, she has no idea what she's getting into. And we've got Sophie here today because Mary's off pet sitting, and doing a podcast just isn't really easy for her right now, so that's fine. So we've got Sophie. You guys will like Sophie, I promise.
Yeah. Maybe.
So what are you working on today?
What am I working on? I'm working on a blanket for my mother-in-law.
Oh, neat.
It's made out of like 1 billion granny squares, which seemed like a really neat idea when I conceived of the project. And now I just sort of hate myself all the time, and I've still got like 6 balls of wool to get through.
Oh boy, I hate those projects. We're like, this is gonna be fun, and then a third of the way in, you're like, I hate my life.
Yeah, I've had a friend call them wool tortillas. Because it's yellow wool, and they're just like little sort of like, they don't even really make squares because wool doesn't understand right angles, so it just sort of does what it wants. But now I'm sewing it all together, it looks a bit more like something you might want another person to see, which is nice.
Did you ever finish that Watson sweater?
Oh my god, the Watson sweater, did I tell you? I don't know if you ever heard the end of that story.
I don't think I did.
I didn't have enough wool for. I mean, the original Watson sweater. In the end, I just made a really short scarf because I just wanted to. Because it was just too hard to work out how to make the pattern fit over my enormous body. So I was just like, I'll just make a scarf, and then I got bored of knitting a scarf. So it's not very long, and I gave it to my partner, who I'd been going out with for about 3 months or something at the time. I was like, I knitted this, it can be for you. And, you know, he still has to marry me, so it's okay.
I hadn't heard that, no.
Oh, I'm sure, I could have sworn I told you about it. I mean, yeah, but yeah, that's what happened to it. He's still got it somewhere upstairs, he never wears it. And I was like, why don't you ever wear that really shitty scarf I made for you? And he's like, oh, it's because it's white and I'm worried it will get dirty. I'm like, it's cool, you don't have to lie to me anymore.
No, because that was right around the time you were trying to make those gloves with 2 different sizes of needles.
Oh, yeah.
And the gloves kind of overshadowed everything.
Yeah, I don't think they ever got finished either. I think that's one of the projects I left in New Zealand, and when my parents moved back from New Zealand, it turned out that they had just thrown away quite a lot of all that shit, because they were like, it's just tangled wool, we don't know what this is.
To be fair, it probably was garbage anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like expensive fancy wool, and also it's kind of nice knowing that the ghosts of my past won't come back to haunt me, because I'm pretty sure if I had just like more fucking wool and shit lying around, I'd never get anything done.
No, I'm glad I finally heard the end of that story. It's been bothering me for years.
Yeah, so that's what happened. I started out with a jumper and ended up with a really shitty scarf. But I did make the pattern work, which I was really pleased about. That took me forever.
Yeah, that was one of those things in between Earthquakes and Richard and Fingerless Gloves that you were just constantly swearing about forever.
Yeah. I still have some of the Fingerless Gloves I made at that time. They even still work.
Amazing.
I mean, they're just tubes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a tube, but I can see one. I don't know where the other one's gone. Probably the cat's eating it. So what about you? What are you working on? Let's have some back and forth.
I am working on the horses still.
Oh yeah?
and I don't know if you've seen the horses. I've been live streaming them a lot the last few days, and I did the giveaway for a bunch of kits, and I know I said I was going to email people Friday night. Whoops, I got sick and fell asleep, so they went out this morning. But
Well,
that's fine.
At least you did it.
Yeah.
The effort is what matters, or something.
Or something.
Or something.
No,
There's got to be a better way of putting that.
It's the thought that counts.
Yes, that would be it.
But no, I've just been running myself ragged between going back and forth to Portland and getting the shop update done and everything else that I just kind of, my body gave up last night.
Oh yeah.
You know how it goes, where it's just like, nah, I think I'm done, and you're like, ugh.
Did you have a bath?
I did have a bath.
Yeah, did it make you feel better?
No.
Oh.
And then we finished season 4 of Bojack.
Oh my god! Sorry, spoilers. Sorry, internet.
That is pissing me off, or it was. It still kind of does, I guess. Where because Netflix shows come out all at once, people will binge the whole thing the day it comes out and then not tag their spoilers, assuming everyone else saw it because it's all out. And it's like, dude, I don't have that kind of time.
I kind of enjoy the fact that people do have that sort of time. It gives me hope. I used to be one of those people.
Yeah,
I remember.
So did I. 4 years ago,
I
I would have been all on top of that the day it came out.
Yeah.
What happened to us?
But yeah, it got old and boring. And now we just have to make podcasts, and I've got a cat to feed, otherwise she won't love me anymore, so I have to have a real job.
Oh boy.
Oh, but I wrote like 1,300 words today, so that was nice. Yes. If it looks like Eugene, yeah, why not? Eugene's gone out to get drunk, so, yeah, I feel like I'm totally channeling my inner like 50s wife today. Like, I cleaned the kitchen and cooked a meal, and then Eugene messaged me and was like, "I'm staying up with the fellas."
Well, there you go.
But, well, yeah, it just means I get to eat spaghetti and cheese for dinner, which is ace.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had burgers and fries last night.
Oh my
god. And
god.
it took me like 2 hours to eat it because I was so tired. You ever just have those nights?
Yes. Where everything is an effort.
Yeah. Because I went and took my bath. Taking my bath was an effort. Then getting out was an effort. It took me like an hour to get out of the bath.
Well, yeah. Basically.
No, I haven't been doing any writing at all lately. I've barely had time to play the roleplay game. I can't wait for the bachelor party though. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's gonna be hilarious. I'm sorry I failed at roleplay and I'm playing quite a good character. Like, if someone else is like, I could do that better, then I would totally give it to them because, well, they could. What else? So yeah, so I don't know. At least it's put me off introducing any other characters.
Yeah.
It's like it'd be quite. There were a few characters that I was like, oh, it'll be really funny to introduce this character, and it would have been.
We still haven't ever even seen Gromit be EP'd.
No, because I figured if I couldn't cope with Molly Hooper, then definitely wasn't going to cope with Molly Hooper and Gromit.
That's kind of where I am. I've technically got like 5 or 6 characters on the roster, and I'm like, I've barely got the energy for this one, so I'm just gonna play this one.
Yeah. Oh, I got a Kindle.
Oh, you got a Kindle. Is it better than the cursed Nook you had forever?
Oh, the Nook. The Nook died. It battled long and hard, and I basically had to keep it on life support.
Oh,
because the battery was like, oh, I don't really understand how to be a battery anymore. I don't really get it. So I'm just gonna slowly lose charge and not recharge.
Oh god.
And it limped on like that for about 3 months after I probably should have just been like, you can rest now. You have died a warrior's death. And then Eugene bought me a Kindle Paperwhite.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, it's got a really horrible UI though. It's got a vile UI and putting stuff on it is a pain.
Oh boy.
Oh, why did it buzz? Did your thingy pick up that buzz?
Nope.
That just happened? No, oh,
nope.
That's alright then.
I'm only picking up your voice.
You lucky thing, you. Where is the cat? Oh, okay, what else? I don't know, I stopped crafting.
You stopped crafting.
Yeah, I put it down and I started looking for the cat, like she would come and help. She got cross when I told her off about the wall and just left.
Do you blame her?
No. I would get cross as well. The other thing that makes her cross at the moment is the coffee table. I'm not kidding, she real, like, we've got a rug in the front room and she just is not happy about us keeping the coffee table on the rug. She'll, like, pull the rug out from under the coffee table. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Rude.
Ow. If you come to be mental at me. No, you're just ignoring me. She's showing me her butt.
Well, she's a cat.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about my problem with the Aristocats?
No.
Okay, so if you watch the Aristocats, none of the cats in that have buttholes.
Well, they're a Disney movie.
But they don't even have, like, a little cross.
No.
To show where the butthole would be, so they all look like they're wearing furry trousers.
Have you ever seen a Disney movie?
Yeah.
That's pretty standard for Disney.
Yeah, but it look like it's just really disconcerting because they're cats, but then they're wearing furry trousers.
I feel like you've never seen
Except-
a Disney movie.
No, I've seen several Disney movies. I've been educating myself.
No, what surprised me was that in The Secret Life of Pets, they did have very lovingly animated buttholes.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I saw 9 Lives.
I didn't see that one.
That movie's fucking amazing. That movie's like, Kevin Spacey is essentially playing his character from House of Cards, but like, the Disney version.
Oh boy.
And, he gets turned into a cat so that he will appreciate his family more. And do you know who turns him into a cat? It's Christopher Walken.
Oh my god.
It's amazing. It changed my life. It'll change yours.
I might have to look this up. Is it on Netflix?
It's on UK Netflix.
That might work. What the hell am
I wonder
doing?
if I should... I suppose really it would be crude of me to Google, does the cat... Oh.
They usually don't.
I mean, probably the... Which is, like, weird when you think about it.
No,
Like, why would the cat have... I mean, maybe it's just because my cat spends a lot of time showing me a butthole because she's gross. But
there you go.
Cats have buttholes. I mean, they're not like sexy buttholes, they're cat buttholes.
It's probably a standards and practice thing, and a not wanting to have an image of all of our animals have animated buttholes.
But... But cats have buttholes, man.
So?
Actually, they have started showing nipples on Disney.
Mario has nipples now. Did you see that?
Oh, that's... No?
Yeah.
Oh my god, why does Mario have nipples? You can't milk him.
Because he's a mammal. Although apparently they still haven't given Link nipples.
Well, that's because he's not... He's just like smooth underneath like a Smurf or a Barbie doll or something.
But yeah, there was a promo image and Mario was on the beach in his board shorts and he had nipples.
So I just googled Mario nipples because that's what my life is now.
Like
and
what you see.
there's an even I mean, no, not really. There is an article where you can have a look at a bunch of other video game nipples.
Oh boy.
Which, I mean, that's a thing, I suppose.
Why did you do that?
Well, Moana had nipples.
Well, Maui had nipples. We never saw Moana topless.
No, but when she was a baby.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Yeah. Which, maybe that's why the sea chose her. I mean, not even Triton had nipples. It might be like a massive symbol of power. Like, yeah. Sea's like, I can tell she is the chosen one. I will give her the heart of Tafiti. Because she has nipples and therefore wields great power.
Okay. I don't know if... do you watch, The Film Theorist?
No, are you going to cut all that stuff about nipples? I would.
I don't know. But no, The Film Theorist recently did a video about how... I think it was recent. I don't know. I was watching a bunch of his videos the other day. About how Ariel and Hercules within the Disney universe are cousins. And it was...
Oh my god, yeah, they are.
Yeah, they totally are, because her father is Triton. It was one of those rare theories where it didn't involve a lot of bending over backwards and sideways logic. It just... She's Hercules' cousin.
Do you think Ursula and Hades ever get together and just, like, exchange notes?
Oh, I don't know. I did love Hades in the Disney one, though.
Oh yeah, he's one of the best Disney villains. Because he was Jewish. And that was really funny to me, I don't know why. Just the idea of a Jewish Greek god just really cheered me up.
Where the fuck am I going? I'm so lost. I'm just kind of going and assuming that this is right.
Oh no, don't do that. That's how I made my dad a tiger.
A tiger?
Yeah, I cross-stitched it. Do you remember I had this cross-stitch kit and I lost the pattern and then I lost some of the thread and I never finished it?
I do remember.
So angry with it.
You were kind of acting like it was rocket science.
I mean, yeah, if you don't think about it and you just dive and do it, it's a lot like rocket science. I bought another kit of the same thing.
Another tiger.
Yeah. And then I did it again, and I still fucked it up. So it's a little bit like, derpy looking. But I still give it to my dad. He has to love it because I made it by hand, and therefore it has more intrinsic value than getting him something he actually wanted.
So
that's how it works, right?
Would you like to hear what kind of rocket science I'm working on?
Yes.
So I'm designing the pattern as I go.
Okay.
It has blended threads and 2 layers of stitching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
2 layers of stitching.
Yeah, so you do 1 layer of stitching, and then you stitch over that with a different color.
But then, do you stitch in like a different direction?
Nope.
Don't you just cover one colour up with the other though?
A little bit. You just use half the amount of floss. So that the other
okay, yeah, no, that
does
make sense. No, that makes sense.
So yeah, that's the rocket science I'm working on.
It does sound a bit like rocket science. If rocket science was incredibly domesticated.
It is a bit like rocket science, I'll be honest. I've been doing nothing but swearing and being confused.
No, that's fair.
In one of the live streams the other day, I was working on it, and apparently somewhere between printing off the pattern, or designing the pattern and printing it off, one of the colors disappeared from the color key, and I don't know where it went. So I was over here, on my chart I had this star symbol, but it wasn't on the color key. And I was like, what in the fuck is going on? So I eventually had to, like, open up the actual pattern in PC Stitch and try to find where that symbol was on the chart and then see what it was. Which is really hard to do from across the room when you've just got your mouse magnified, but I figured it out eventually.
Oh, there you go. That sounds mad.
I was going insane a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That sounds like the sort of thing like an inventive devil would get you to do as a sort of ironic punishment. Oh, fuck you, YouTube. You know what I'm looking for?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for your YouTube channel. Because I still don't YouTube like a real person. So I don't subscribe to anything. I just get mad.
The subscription button is there to make your life easier.
Yeah, but then YouTube wins.
Subscribe and make more money.
I just had a tantrum because my phone was like, I need to access your contacts. And I was like, why do you need my contacts?
It needs your contacts for video sharing.
Well...
Because it has this thing now where if you see a video that you like, one of the share options is to text it to your friends. So that's why it needs your contacts, so it can text it to your friends.
Oh my god, no. But that seems like a good way for my friends to find out about my secret cat baby video thing.
What?
Have you ever seen videos of like cats and babies? It's Ace.
No. What are you talking about?
So you get like videos on YouTube where people are like, this is my baby with our cats.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I was thinking something completely different, and because it was coming from you, I thought that's actually what you were talking about.
No? What did you think I was talking about?
Cat babies. Since that's what you said.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean also kitten videos.
No, not kitten videos. Cat babies.
Babies that are cats.
Yeah.
I mean, that could either be awesome or really creepy. I don't think there would be a middle ground on that.
Yeah. So I was really confused.
Yeah. No, I like to watch those, and also I like to watch videos of Americans eating things. Because everything is so alien to them.
What, like unboxing videos?
No, like, we're gonna eat this thing that comes from a country that is not America, and then they're like, it's a Smartie! And then, like, it's like an M&M! Like, they were expecting it to be, like, I don't know, a baby chick. Or, like, a trick made by English people.
Mate, I've seen English people do the same thing. That's not unique to Americans.
No, it's true. The first time I ever had a Tootsie Roll, my mind was blown. They're disgusting.
You know what I miss?
What?
I miss those pineapple chunks you used to send me from New Zealand.
Oh shit, no, even I miss those. Those were ace.
Those were
New Zealand, send
delicious.
us your... You've got the internet, use it. People from the internet, send us your pineapple lumps.
Those were delicious.
Yeah, they were the best.
So much.
Yes. No, they were ace. I think you can get them on Amazon, maybe?
Probably, but I imagine it would be like buying Jaffa cakes on Amazon. It takes a month to get here and they're stale.
Yeah, probably. Oh, do you know you can get a button now? Yeah, and they're like £5 a bag.
You can what?
That's insane. So you can get... Sorry, I just changed from one subject to another. So I looked at pineapple lumps. Do you know how much one packet of pineapple lumps will cost you?
No.
£5.
Jesus. I imagine that was something that was like $1.50 down there.
Yeah, basically. And so it's like 80p for a packet of pineapple lumps. Maybe a bit more. I don't know. I don't remember. But
80p sounds about like $1.50.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but they weren't that. Oh wait, other sellers are selling them for £1.20, but do they come with like drugs in them? I don't know.
Do they come with drugs in them?
To be honest, I'm saying that like I think that the internet has drugs, but if someone was going to sell you like cheap pineapple lumps, then putting drugs in them would be pointless because drugs are expensive.
So, you know that whole kind of urban myth, I guess, about people putting razor blades and poison and shit into their kids' Halloween candy?
Yeah.
Do you know where that started?
In America.
No, but do you know how that started? Obviously it started here.
Well,
Y'all don't really
because,
trick or treat.
Like, it sort of happened, almost.
No, some dude genuinely poisoned his own kid and tried to blame it on his neighbor.
Yes, and you also had I heard about it on another podcast called My Favorite Murder, credit where it's due, where they talked about it. And apparently the guy always denied it and was like, it must be the candy.
Yeah.
That's why now you're not allowed to go out and play anymore or something.
Yeah, he put cyanide in the pixie sticks and he was going to try to poison his own kids and his neighbor's kids, but it worked too fast and it freaked the other kids out and they wouldn't eat their pixie sticks. I go figure. And so yeah, he tried to blame it on the neighbor, but the neighbor was like, I wasn't even fucking home, dude. How could I have given your kids the pixie sticks?
I like the Tylenol Murders.
The what now?
They're fun. The Tylenol Murders. Oh my god! So
I haven't heard about this.
You should have done. So in the 80s in Chicago, 7 people took Tylenol and then died of cyanide poisoning.
What?
They weren't connected. They didn't. I mean, some of them were from the same family, but they didn't know each other or anything, and they'd all bought them at different stores. So there was a massive recall of Tylenol because they didn't know what was poisoned or not, and they found they found out that 8 Tylenol packets, bottles. How do you get it over there? Bottles.
In bottles. We don't really do blister packs.
Which is madness.
No,
because that's how people get poisoned.
No, we just buy it in 500 pill bottles.
Which is also weird. Your country is weird. So anyway, let me finish telling the story. So they get the Tylenol back, and they found out that whilst people had bought most of the Tylenol that was poisoned, there was one that hadn't been opened yet. Someone had bought it and taken it home, but not taken any, and the other one was still on the shelf. And no one ever found out who'd done it. They think maybe the Unabomber did it.
The Unabomber?
Because he had a thing about, like, because he was just sort of a local nutter, right?
Yeah.
And he was, like, in the area when it could have happened. And then they don't really... Yeah, so they never found out who did it. But it's the reason that you have a proper seal on your medicine bottles now.
Huh.
Because he wouldn't... Because they figure that the person had to take the bottles to wherever the poison was, put the poison in there, like they were like the cap, like the ones made of plastic that you can open up and it's got all the grains inside. So they put the grains in. If they'd left the cyanide for much longer, it would have started to eat through the capsules.
Huh.
So it was very nearly done, and they got away with it because they didn't dust. I guess they didn't dust the bottles for prints, or they did, and they couldn't find out.
Well, there probably would have been so many prints on each bottle because people were picking them up and looking at them.
Yeah, so they like unscrewed. They could just unscrew it and put the capsules in, and screw it back on again, and then take it back to the shop and just put it in there. But it's like, it's such a weird case because it's not like they were all in one shop. They were in shops all over Chicago, and it was the same batch of pills, but it was only like 8 bottles.
Weird.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, I'd never heard about that.
Oh man, like, and it was like this massive like panic because they couldn't there wasn't CCTV everywhere, so they couldn't like check the CCTV cameras to see if the same person had gone in or anything like that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good podcast. Everyone should check it out if they haven't already.
What's it called again?
My Favorite Murder.
I'm gonna have to look for that one.
It's two girls from Los Angeles talking about murder, but they also talk about like mental health and stuff like that. They're like one of the top comedy podcasts.
Neat.
Yeah,
That can't be right.
they're really cool. Right. And they went to Portland one time.
They went to Poland?
Portland.
Oh, Portland.
Yeah, which is why that's relevant to you. I can't remember which murders they did, though.
No, it sounds fun. I'm going to have to look it up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sounds right up my alley.
They are going to go... They were going to be playing at... They are going to be playing at Revolution Hall, but it's already sold out.
Huh.
I don't know what Revolution Hall is.
I don't either, to be honest.
But yeah, it's good. What else?
I haven't really been listening to too many podcasts. I haven't even really been watching my YouTube subs lately. I've been so freaking busy.
No, that's a shame. I mean, I listened to that on my bike ride. So it's really cool because I listen to all these horrible murders that happen to people pretty much at random, and then I cycle along like a deserted canal path. Which is fun. And then I come home and sit alone in the enormous house where all the murderers could hide and I wouldn't know.
Well, it can't possibly be worse than when you were cycling in New Zealand.
Cycling in New Zealand, the worst thing that could have killed me cycling in New Zealand was, okay, a car, but also just...
Well, also the earthquake.
Oh yeah, an earthquake. But, like, mainly because it made all the roads really gross. And, like, rucked up.
Didn't you once take a wrong turn and wind up in a tent?
No! That was when I tried to cycle through town when it was all... So for those of us who were not in New Zealand in 2011, there was a big earthquake in my city, and they cut off the centre of the town because it was really badly hit. It was all this Victorian building work. It was not prepared for the 6.3 earthquake that bounced around and basically was like a child throwing a tanty with some Legos. It was really bad. So a bunch of people died, which is not funny, and they cordoned it all off, and the army was there to stop people from like coming in and like looting. It didn't work, but they did try and do that. And I managed to get work with the civil defence in the centre of town. So they kept moving the cordon, like where the sort of the entry point was. So I went to where I thought the entry point was on my bike, and I couldn't like and I was like, oh, I have to work in the centre of town, I have this pass. So they let me in, and I was just cycling around town in the dark past all like these like crushed cars and like destroyed buildings, and I got utterly lost because nothing looked like it did before the earthquake, and it was dark, and I had to stop and ask for directions. Turned out that the people I asked for directions from were like these Japanese aid workers who had been airlifted over because the Japanese are really good with earthquakes. They didn't know where to go either. I ended up in like... So they sort of pointed me vaguely in a direction that seemed right. And I'm just saying, it was very dark, and I was on my bike, and I was like, if there's another earthquake, I'll just die. Like, this building will fall on me and that'll be it. They'll just have to dig me out. That'll be my story. And in the end, I got stopped by the policeman who was like, the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I'm supposed to be in this place and I can't get to it because everything's cut off. And by now I was like sort of around this area where they were, where it turns out that was where they were sorting out the bodies. So it's where they were taking everything once they found it. So I didn't cycle into it because that would have been in poor taste. But I did get let out at like a random part of the cordon, and I was like, I still don't really understand where I'm supposed to be going. So I just called my boss and like cried because the police might arrest me and I could have died and no one would have known where I was. I would have just been under some rubble in a city. and then I would have ended up in the tent, and it was just all very, like, too much. So he had to come down and pick me up with my bike. But after that, I knew where the cordon entrance was, so I didn't get lost again. But apart from that, it was rubbish. So that's what happened to me.
Yeah. There was a couple of years right after we first met where it was just nothing but that kind of drama.
Oh yeah, no, I am nothing if not living in interesting times. So I'm making up for it now by being as boring as possible.
And then,
oh man.
And then weren't you were doing, was it your master's?
Oh, my postgrad year.
Your postgrad on Richard III, and I got to hear all the bitching about Richard.
Oh god. Do you know, I've always, like, I enjoyed doing Richard. I wish I'd picked a different play. Because it would have been a lot less effort. Yeah, that was the same year as the earthquake.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just nothing but shouting
that was my
and
life.
Screaming.
Yeah, like, it was just like the year of high drama and earthquakes.
And we'll always have Sherlock to look back on it as.
Yeah. But
the
they're
most
doing
insane fandom ever.
Oh my god, yes. I think that's one of the reasons I still don't fandom.
Yeah.
I mean that, and like, I got...
Between that and Marvel.
And just like, Tumblr just depresses me on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Like, I started enjoying things a lot more when I stopped being on Tumblr. That's the only reason I could watch Steven Universe, is because I'm not on Tumblr. Everyone should watch Steven Universe. If you haven't watched Steven Universe, you should watch Steven Universe.
Well, I will still never get over the fact that while looking for fans my own age in a YouTube fandom, I got screamed at for being ageist because, oh my god, this is all about being inclusive, and it's like, no, that's not how that works. I have nothing in common with 14-year-olds.
Yeah, I think, like, I remember being 14 and thinking I was so grown up.
Yeah, and oh my god, you're really not.
No. I think it's true what the internet says. You know you're a grown up when Ariel is like, you don't understand me, Daddy, and you're like, you're 15. Sit the fuck down.
Yeah. When you start siding with Triton, you're an adult. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought about getting back into fandom for a bit, like getting onto what was it called? That Dreamwidth community. Oh yeah, Dreamwidth, which is still kind of there. It's just really not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I gave up. I don't even know if the Cabin Pressure Cabin Pressure com is still going. Technically, I'm still in charge of it.
I have no idea.
Well, I say technically I'm still in charge of it. I handed over the reins to someone else and was like, you can be the active mod. If you need anything, come and ask me. And she changed the password on the mod account, told me what it was, and I promptly lost it. So hopefully she never needs anything. I'm really sorry if that mod is listening right now and is like, that bitch! It wasn't anything personal, just I'm rubbish.
Would you like to hear something insane?
Go on then.
That wiki that I set up for it still gets updated.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm always really surprised when I get the email that someone updated a page.
Wow. Well, I still get lots of comments on that trash fiction we wrote.
The one I fucking disowned.
Yeah, the one you disowned. That I kept. It's still there. It got kudos today.
Why?
It's not the highest rated. It's not the highest rated fic in the fandom anymore, I don't think.
Good. It didn't deserve it in the first place. So we wrote this. It's not even a fic.
No.
And that's what pissed me off. We wrote a list about stupid things for the main character in Cabin Pressure, which, if you don't know, is this radio comedy that it's on the BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it was. And it was just this stupid list of like 24 items. And for some reason, this was the most popular fic in the entire fandom as judged by AO3's stats.
I think that's because everything else in that fandom was so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Like, I always write fluff when I'm in a fandom. Like, I love a little bit of, like, rom-com, like, you know, the more Bridget Jones, the better. And I was writing, like, these really awful angst, like, like, angst-filled, like suicide fics.
Yeah. It brought out the worst in you. It really did.
Oh, yeah, no, I was, like, killing people. I was, like, punching them. I was just, like... It was, like, death to all my enemies. And then we wrote this one stupid thing, and I think it's been translated into Chinese and Russian.
I didn't know that.
Maybe even Spanish? It's
Holy
a pod
shit.
fic.
How? It's a list.
I mean, God bless them. They read very well, and yeah, and someone even sent it to John Finnemore, who wrote the show.
I remember that, and I was so cringy about that. Just why would you do that?
Mate, I shat twice and died, like. And the worst thing was, he replied and said it wasn't any good.
He did. He really did.
He replied and was like, "That's not how it works."
And I loved it. I was like, vindication. This fic sucks.
And everyone still loves it. And yeah.
Do you remember when I got kicked out of the main Sherlock comm for being too dark and broody?
Oh yeah. Well, that was because, like, you had... I mean... Here's the thing. The Sherlock fandom, when we were both active in it, it's how we met, so we know the Sherlock fandom.
Yes.
It was like... It got this reputation for being really crazy. And it was.
It's a deserved reputation, it really is.
Well, for a while, it was like... someone who was really crazy, but in kind of a fun, sort of, you never know what they're gonna do next kind of a way. And then, really, really neatly, it just segued into you never know what they're gonna do next.
It was an abusive relationship, is what it was.
I mean, it just entirely, like, for every... I mean, I think it's true in all fandoms that you always get a certain core of toxicity.
Yeah.
Like, in Cabin Pressure, where we were running the Dreamwit fandom, it was this sort of, like, really odd situation where you couldn't be nasty to anyone, which is nice at first. Like, it was quite refreshing. We just come from, as I say, the Sherlock fandom, where it was getting very, very nasty.
They had a hate meme.
I'm not in it.
They did
have a hate.
They had a hate meme.
They did.
That's how nasty
they did,
Sherlock
where you could just
fandom
go
is.
and be cross about other fans, and it was all very like, oh, okay, I don't know what to do. And then, in Cabin Pressure, it was all too nice. Like, you couldn't be nasty to anyone,
and not
even
nasty.
like nasty.
But like,
you just couldn't.
It's probably why our stupid ass fic that John Finnemore said was bullshit took off, because nobody wanted to say this is stupid.
And I mean, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, and like. What were the dramas? There was a drama where we did a sort of "Where is everyone from?" and it turned out a bunch of people were like 13.
Yeah, and it's like,
then we had to kick them, and they all lost their shit because we kicked them out because it's an 18+ community and we post about gay porn a lot. Like, for more context, Cabin Pressure had Benedict Cumberbatch in it before and after Sherlock, and that's why it had a fandom.
Yes.
And after Sherlock, it very much took off in a way that no one expected, especially the people who were making it.
And then Sherlock fucked with being able to produce Cabin Pressure, so it had years in between the seasons sometimes.
Yeah, and it was this sort of like thing where I felt really bad for them because they clearly didn't expect it to happen. So in the UK, for the BBC, for pretty much all sitcoms, anything that's filmed in front of a live audience, that's free. So you just have to enter a lottery, and if they pull your number, you're being filmed or recorded or whatever. And as soon as Benedict Cumberbatch got famous, the audience immediately became all these sort of young Benedict Cumberbatch fangirls, back when they were still called the Cumberbitches.
Oh, yeah, even he said, why?
Yeah.
Of all the things you could call yourselves, why?
Yeah, and they just would go and fuck up recordings. Because I think it's something, I mean, the whole thing is something I find really interesting, because I've been listening, like, say, to this podcast, and they had to say, when we're going to live shows, we love that you want to interact with us, and we love that you're there and you're keen and you're switched on. You can't just shout at us throughout the whole show, because we are recording, and when you do that, not only does it ruin the recording, but it also ruins it for the people next to you. And we've had people complaining that they couldn't hear what was going on because the people around them were being so noisy.
Yeah,
and
sounds about
I think it's really interesting. It seems to happen a lot. Like, it happened in the version of Richard III that Martin Freeman did.
I remember. Yeah, he had
because he broke character and told someone to shut up.
Yeah, he broke character and said, "Would you shut the fuck up?"
And I mean, I'm not saying
I was so torn. I was so torn about that.
Yeah,
on one hand, they deserved it, but on the other hand, oh my god, how embarrassing.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting because, like, I just, it doesn't occur to me that you could go to anything that's not a pantomime and act like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, pantomime is a real specific form of like, of theatre.
I'm trying to think of an American equivalent, and we don't have one.
Do you ever have open air theatre where people, like, get where they break the foot, where they, like, interact with the audience?
Not that I have ever been to, and not that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure it exists, it's just not the same kind of thing that pantomime is over there.
Or Punch and Judy?
No. I really don't think there's a specific American equivalent.
It's sort of like...
It's like where the audience shouts, "He's behind you!"
And then the guy shouts back, "Oh no, he's not," and then you have to shout back, "Oh yes, he is."
Yeah.
And all pantomimes have the same basic formula. So you'll always have, like, a principal boy who used to be played by a girl, but is now usually played by, like, an ex-boy band member. Which is always a bit depressing.
I don't know why that amuses me.
It's always a bit like Troy McClure from The Simpsons.
Oh god.
Like, "Hi, I'm Lee. I used to be in E17. Now I'm playing Dick Whittington," with no sign of irony. And then there'll be, like, the principal girl, who is also always played by a girl. That hasn't changed. It's weird how pantomime has got more heteronormative. And then you've got the dame, which is a man dressed as a woman. It's like a drag queen, but not like RuPaul. We're not talking like the illusion of a woman. We're talking like
more like what was it? Priscilla.
It's sort of, but not like glam. It's very comedy.
Yeah, like it's more usually, like that kind of drag queen than.
Yeah, a little
full
bit.
Full of feathers and yeah.
Yeah. And, like, there's not this sort of like it's not like being a pageant girl. The closest thing you could probably get is a comedy queen. For those of us who have watched enough RuPaul's Drag Race, so it's very much this sort of like. You know, she'll come out and she'll do a bit where she talks about how she's so lonely and how much she would love to be married to a prince. And the joke is that it's a man dressed as a woman, and the prince has to pretend that she's like an ugly old woman, but it's actually a man. It's so complicated. I don't know. It makes sense once you're in there. And then she's got a son called Buttons, who's like, he comes out and talks to the audience. So he'll like come and warm the audience up and be like, every time I come on stage, I want you to say hiya. So all the audience has to say hiya whenever he comes out on stage, and it keeps everyone engaged. And it's usually like a fairy story, so it'll be like Snow White, or Cinderella is very popular because she gets to wear a pretty dress. And they'll do like pop songs, and they'll have like bits they do, like there's a bit with a ghost where the ghost comes on and chases off a character every time, and you have to shout he's behind you, and they all look for him, and then they sing a little song. It's much better than I'm making it sound.
Yeah, it's just something that isn't really as pervasive over here, but
yeah, and
probably should be.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, I don't know if like would help. Like if there was if you knew there was a form of theatre where you could go shout at people, but then the rest of the time when you go to the theatre you don't shout at people. Like that should.
Yeah,
but you get that outlet.
But unfortunately, when people go to see Cabin Pressure and Richard III, they don't realize that this is not the sort of theater where you shout at people.
No.
And yeah, and you can really hear that in some of the Cabin Pressure recordings, just people being obnoxious in the audience.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like, I don't know, that must have been shock. Oh, you know what it's like? It's like when you go and see a live production of Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah, that's
there
probably a good parallel right there.
Yeah. Except for kids.
Yeah, you don't generally have kids at Rocky Horror.
No. Talking of Tim Curry, I'm gonna go see It.
Oh yeah?
I've decided, yeah.
I'm gonna go see that with my mom.
I'm going with my sister. Fancy cinema in town where they have sofas and you can order a hot dog.
Neat.
Yeah.
So
I don't have any. So
you know all of the hate that Jared Leto is getting about Suicide Squad? He's getting hated on again because of Skarsgård. Because
what's this?
Oh, you didn't hear about this with
No.
So Jared Leto was method acting during Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, he did a bunch of stuff.
Except he doesn't know what method acting is. He was just being an obnoxious prick on set and making everybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then, whichever Skarsgård it is that's playing Pennywise, I don't know, there are a million of them.
Oh yeah, I know, right? And they're all interchangeable, basically.
Except for poor Gustav.
What the fuck is Gustav?
He plays Floki in Vikings.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but yeah, he kind of looks like the sort of person who would be a serial killer in a redneck horror movie. He kind of does. I mean, look him up on Google. But, whichever Skarsgård is playing Pennywise, Bill maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
He was going out.
Yeah,
he was going out of his way to make sure that he's not frightening the children, and that everyone's comfortable around him, and that everyone's having fun. Because, god damn it, he's a professional actor, and you don't act like a dickhead on set.
Yeah.
So now Leto's getting all this backlash again just because of this.
Well, I think he's been doing similar things on the set of Blade Runner.
Oh god.
2049.
Does he just not know what method acting is?
No, he doesn't. He thinks that he can get away with murder. I don't understand why, because he can't. Also, I was really disappointed because I thought Ryan Reynolds was the one that's in Blade Runner, and I was like so excited, like I was entirely down to see Ryan Reynolds and Harrison Ford running around pretending to be robots. And then it turns out it's Ryan Gosling, who's like the more boring Ryan, who doesn't do anything interesting.
I could not put a face to Ryan Gosling. That's one of those things like where I hear his name, but it's like, who the fuck is that?
Him and Channing Tatum are basically, as far as I can tell, the same person. I've never seen them in a room together. And I've never seen them in. I've never seen them in a movie. Oh no, wait, that's a lie. I saw Channing Tatum in that really weird Coen Brothers movie, the one that wasn't very good, about Hollywood.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, I don't remember. I remember being excited to see it and then being let down.
He's another one of those ones where I can't put a face to the name.
No. He looks really generic.
It's probably why I can't put a face to the name.
I swear to God, they just have a cloning machine in Hollywood that turns out like tall, blonde guys.
Yeah.
And then they've just sort of tweaked some of them so you can tell them apart, which is how you get the 5 Chris's.
Yeah.
They've all come out of the same vat. It's just some of them got smushed against the glass a little differently.
Yeah, Chris Pine and Chris Evans, I used to get mixed up a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to speculate on a celebrity's personal life now, which is something I try not to do because I think it's rude, but I'm going to anyway. So, spoilers for Bojack Horseman. But you know the conversation between Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter right at the end?
Yes. About how she's tired of squinting.
Yeah, I think that's how the conversation between Anna Faris and Chris Pratt went before they broke up.
Probably.
In fact, just because, like...
Because all you ever heard was, like, how much they fell in love because they were both into bugs.
Yeah. And how much... And, like, I don't know, their life always seemed incredibly perfect.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot of work to put out that image, let alone maintain it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it made me sad that they broke up.
Yeah, I wasn't even invested in that one. Made me sad.
It sucks when you find out people have flaws. That's what. You want to think Chris Pratt is like the ultimate fucking Labrador human being who's just like having his best day every day because he gets to run around and pretend to be like a dinosaur whisperer or whatever the fuck was going on in that. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
You want to know the sad part?
Yeah.
When they broke up, my first thought was, who gets the bug collection?
I was just like, no. I was oh, but they were happy. Like, no, but I guess, like, once someone has to start traveling for work, it must get quite difficult to hold that sort of thing together.
Having kind of been in that situation, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I couldn't do it. Eugene was only moving to York. I just moved with him. Like, yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, when the army, when Ryan was in that, was the most trying experience of my life.
It's just difficult when you can't see someone every night.
Well, between that and then moving on to that damn base out there in the middle of the fucking desert.
Oh, yeah.
It was like... We went from having not seen one another in about a year and a half to that was the only person we ever saw because there was nothing to do out there.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, I think we came real close to divorce out there. A lot of people did get divorced out there.
Do you know Bill Skarsgård is like my age?
Really?
Fucking yeah, younger than me. Yeah, that's really depressing. He's like, I'm in a blockbuster movie, and I'm sitting here in my pajamas, looking at the cat.
Yeah, I try not to think about that sometimes, and then I'll be, watching someone on TV or being immensely popular on YouTube, and I'm like, you are my little brother's age. What the hell where did I go wrong?
Yeah, but it's like, who was it I was thinking about the other day?
I have no idea.
I don't remember. No, I don't remember either. Someone important who's like quite a lot younger than me and has made quite a lot more money than me. Um, Also, the internet tells me that Stellan Skarsgård has 8 children.
Yeah,
And,
there's a lot of them.
How many of them have their own Wikipedia page?
Well, I know there's
7.
Bill, Alexander, Gustav, and Charlie.
What? There's no Charlie?
Why the hell am I thinking Charlie?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's Alexander, Gustav, Sam, Bill, Ija, Volta, and Volta.
Oh, I don't know. Where the hell did I get
And
Charlie?
then he married someone else, and clearly hadn't worked out what was causing it, because he went on to have Ossian and Colborn, who has the most Scandinavian-looking name in the world. It's even got an umlaut on it.
Well, I don't know. Gustav's up there.
Gustav is spelt with an F, and it doesn't have any fancy punctuation.
You see what I mean about him, though?
Yeah.
Poor Gustav.
Since been sterilized.
Well, what I love is that Gustav plays a character that may or may not have been descended from Loki, while Stellan plays a character that was mind-controlled by Loki.
Yeah. Oh shit, do you know what you should read? Talking of Norse mythology, I've been meaning to get you to do this for ages.
Oh.
You should read Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology book.
Yeah, but it's Neil Gaiman.
But it's surprisingly good.
I think you were talking about
like
this,
it.
about how he's not completely up his ass. Or someone was.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
I just don't like him. He's completely
Mate,
up his
if
own
they
ass.
Well, yeah, I guess, but he's kind of fun. I think at least some of it is Persona.
Probably, I don't know.
I bet you must make a lot of money out of being Neil Gaiman instead of just like Neil Gaiman fella pottering about in the back garden.
Oh, probably.
Or whatever it is he likes to do.
This mountain is turning out surprisingly... I don't know. It's not subtle, but it's not also, like, standing out. I think it's exactly how I wanted it to be.
A melon?
Mountain.
Oh, mountain. I was so confused.
Because I'm using 3 different shades of variegated gray.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, and it's like, in some places really blending into itself, and then in other places, like, here's a big patch of black.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I did a cross stitch with a sky that I used your thread for. I'm sure I sent you a picture. Yeah,
Maybe.
It was ages ago. It was like I don't know. It was like a silhouette type affair. And I filled in the sky with this dark purple and yellow thing.
That sounds like Summer Twilight.
Maybe.
I think that's the only one that's strictly
It was-
purple and yellow.
It was back when you first started because I entered a competition
Oh my god.
and named your Sad Thunder God floss if you still do it.
Yeah, I still have Sad Thunder God. That competition is the reason I have not had any more competitions.
Yeah, because someone rigged it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had... The prize package was $10 worth of embroidery floss. It was such a small prize package. And someone created dozens of accounts to vote to... First, they put in multiple entries that were all basically the same. So it's like, I could tell what was going on. And then they used all of those multiple accounts to vote for themselves.
Yeah, I never understood the mentality behind that. Like, that's
Yeah.
more than $10 worth of effort, in my opinion.
It really was, and pretty much because I have not found a way to do it better, and people obviously can't be trusted on the honor system, I just haven't done one since.
No, that's fair.
So, Now what I do is I will just, you know, throw colors up on Tumblr and say, hey, this needs a name, and if I like a name, I use it. And
yeah, that sounds
you don't get
right.
any compensation, sorry. Assholes ruined it for you. Oh shit, I haven't been doing the edge over here. Fuck.
Well, I managed to almost finish one granny square. Do you know what the worst part was? I came to sew it together, and I found the first one I did, and it looked slightly different to all the others. And it turned out that I've been doing all of them slightly wrong.
Is that why they don't have right edges or right corners?
Yeah.
Because you did
It turns
wrong.
out. Well, it turns out after you've done all the fancy stuff, you're supposed to do like a border of single crochet.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on any of them except the first one, and I'm like, not. I've done so many of these things. I'm just not going to go back. I'm just brazening it out. It looks fine.
Well, from all the other stories we've heard about fingerless gloves and sweaters, are we really surprised?
That's about part of the course.
I bought one of those Karen cakes the other day.
Karen cakes.
Have you heard about these?
No.
So, someone on Mildly Offensive Fiber Artist bought one, and they were complaining about it because it's variegated yarn, but the variegation is a little bit more. It has fewer colors, so it's not just immediately red, pink, blue, red, pink, blue, red, pink, blue. So it'll have, like mine has a big piece of gray, and then a really big piece of orange, and then a really big piece of green, and it has like 4 or 5 different kind of desaturated fall colors like that.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty. And the idea that from what I can tell, because the colors, they do kind of vary abruptly, and there's really no bleed in between the colors, but then there's also like flecks of gray and green in the orange, and you can see some of the orange and the green and the blue and the gray. And it looks to me like it's supposed to look hand spun.
Oh yeah.
But it means that, you know, sometimes in the gray you might get like a weird little couple of stitches with some orange. And someone was really bitching about that, so I went and bought one, because I was like, well, this looks kind of cool, I want to try it.
Yeah.
And what I have learned from it is that they are super cool, but they also have, like, super limited uses, because I tried to make a scarf with it, and that scarf has since been frogged, because the color patches are so big that I wound up with 8 inches of gray, and then 8 inches of orange, and then I started to get into the green, and I'm like, this is ugly. I wanted, you know, like, a variation in color, not just block, 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 because they're all the same size. I thought, like, well, maybe the orange would be a little bit smaller than the gray, and then there would be more green, and then a lot less blue, but it doesn't do that, and that was what disappointed me. So now
Maybe
I'm just making a square blanket. It's big, chunky acrylic. You wouldn't want to wear that on a sock. So now I'm just making a square blanket, which will artificially make each color look smaller.
Yeah.
Because as you work out, it's, you know, going to stretch that same amount of color into a bigger area effectively. So that's how I'm doing that now. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool idea. Mary's making a really pretty purple shawl, which people who follow her on Instagram have probably seen that already. And then I tried to make it, but I couldn't figure it out, and every time I try to make any kind of triangular pattern, it always winds up stingray shaped. Like a really squished, kind of diamond shape, and it's like, no. So I just got so fed up.
I don't know how to make a triangle shape.
I don't either, and I tried to do a crocodile stitch for a while, which is the worst name for that stitch, because no self-respecting crocodile would have scales that look like that.
I discovered a really interesting stitch that makes your that makes it look like it's going sideways.
Oh.
So your stitches are like at a 90-degree angle.
Interesting. I have fucked something up.
I can't remember what it's called, and I can't be asked to get up and go and find out. But I did it. It was cool.
Neat. So yeah, I'm just making a square blanket. Not even a granny square. It's just using single stitches all the way around.
Oh, nice. I made a blanket that's probably big enough to cover a king-size bed, maybe a bit bigger, out of wool I got last Christmas. It's still not finished. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just like the ugliest fucking thing I've ever made. It's so bad.
That's what happened with that Holmes blanket of mine, because it was supposed to use sock yarn, remember? But I couldn't find sock in the right colors. So I just used regular 4-ply, and it's like, this blanket is fucking enormous now. Apparently Ryan hates it because it makes him itchy, so we don't really use it.
Well, the one I've got is made of acrylic, so it doesn't feel particularly nice, but it is really warm. Which is nice. It's just never finished. Like, it's got all the threads hanging out of it, and I've still got a ball of wool attached to it, because I'm trying to find a neat way to finish it off, and I have a terrible feeling there's not a neat way.
Probably.
You just keep going until you die.
Well, it's like that scrap blanket I've been working on forever. That for some reason I decided needed to be fucking enormous. And it's got to the point...
blankets are ace, though. They're the best.
It sort of got to the point now where if you switch it the wrong way, it actually works as a blanket. But I don't want it to go that way. I want the stripes to go horizontal across the bed and not vertical.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm wondering how much of this blanket, the granny square blanket, I can get away with not doing. The thing is you never see these things folded out. That's what I don't know how big the other blanket I've made is, because I don't have a space big enough to.
Well, like we have that I don't think you've ever seen it. When Ryan was in the army, I made him this big stupid American flag blanket. That I was just a babby crocheter. I was in high school, and I didn't understand that, red doesn't equal red, so that there's like 3 different colors of red in the stripes. Because I was using Red Heart, and I was using Caron, and basically I was just using whatever I could afford.
Yeah.
And I think the blue field is like 2 different shades of blue. But damn it, I made that
I
thing,
really want
and
to learn how to make quilts, like patchwork quilts.
I can kind of do them. I've got one behind me that I've been working on for ages.
But it means, well, I've got a sewing machine, but I'm kind of scared of it, so I haven't learned how to use it yet. I have a feeling that I maybe need to watch some YouTube tutorials and see if I can work out how to set it up.
You should do a race quilt.
What's a race quilt?
So you go down to your local craft store of choice. I don't know what you guys have over there.
Yep.
And you will see these little rolls of different colors of stripped fabric. There's usually like 20 different colors, and you have 2 different strips of each one.
Okay.
Get 1 or 2 of those. They are called jelly rolls. So what you do is you take these strips of fabric. They're like 2 by 20 inches long.
Yeah.
And you sew them end to end, so that you have this big, huge strip of fabric that's like a couple 100 feet.
Yeah.
Which is enormous, but then you fold it in half and you sew it lengthwise, and then you cut the end so that it's just now like 4 inches by 50 feet. And then you fold it again, sew it lengthwise, and cut it, and now it's 8 by 25, or whatever, however that works. And eventually you have a quilt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I read a really good book that everyone should go read, especially if you want to be sort of confused. It's called Alias Grace. It's by Margaret Atwood. It's being made into a TV show, but you should definitely read the book. And she makes quilts in that, and apparently they have all these different meanings.
Huh.
Which is quite cool. So, like, there's very much this idea that a girl should, like, sew the first quilt she sleeps under with her husband. Because then she can sew, like, the home into it or something.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the main point of the whole thing, but it's just, like, there's, like, this whole, the idea of, like, this whole tradition of women sewing blankets to sleep under with their new husband, like.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's based on a real murder, which is always nice.
Huh.
And because Margaret Atwood's very marketable, it's the one they're making into a TV show next.
Oh, of course.
Well, it's a period piece, so it's sufficiently different from The Handmaid's Tale, but it's also got quite a strong feminist theme through it. And it wouldn't be as, like, difficult to make as, like, Oryx and Crake, for example, which is also really good and you should read it.
I need to finish reading all the crap I'm reading already, which I'm not even reading, I'm listening to, because who the fuck has time to read these days?
I'm making time more, like, especially now that I have a fancy new ebook reader, I feel like I need to read more. But yeah, what was I going to say? I read The Women's Room over a weekend, which is a 70s second wave feminist book. Second wave feminism is the most depressing feminism.
Yeah!
It's just the saddest feminism. No one in a second wave feminist book is happy. If they fool you into thinking they're happy, it's only because they have not yet revealed the holiness in their own life.
Pretty much.
That's it. That's the book. But I mean, it's like, I don't know. I think it's important not to forget that second wave feminism is a thing, and it's important not to dismiss second wave feminist books. Having said that, third wave feminism is a lot more inclusive and a lot more intersectional, in my opinion. And therefore, it's like better feminism. I'm looking forward to the comments you get on that one.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm never going to be invited back because all your comments will just be on fire.
Nah, you'll be fine. People will love you.
You're saying that. So, yeah. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Well, we have been going for about an hour and a half.
Is that a good amount of time?
Yeah, that's a good amount of time. We can probably stop it here.
Okay.
So, thank you, Sophie, for being on this today.
That's okay, I had fun. Hopefully all your listeners had fun too.
Yeah.
It would be neat to get invited back. And then I can tell you more about things that I haven't done, I've just consumed.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom?
Even if you're a bit shit, keep doing the thing, because one day you won't be shit.
Wonderful. So
someone get that as a tattoo.
Yes. I might have to turn that into a pattern.
I want it to be a pattern, that would be amazing.
Okay.
That's how I know I made it.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Remember, don't eat soap, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.